Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I come to you with, honestly, pretty gosh darned good news regarding tournaments. Actual tournaments. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the Champions League 2022 in Kyoto will be held on Sunday, October the 3rd. Now, it's going to be held without spectators, and obviously it is liable to be cancelled if everything goes a little bit wrong. But the fact of the matter is, Japan is holding a proper Champions League in, well, actually, as I record this, exactly 1 month's time, which is fantastic, because it's real tournaments coming back. And this is good news for people that like the Pokemon trading card game, the competitive side of it, etc. As long as it's done safe, and we'll talk about that more in a moment, this is good news that we're actually seeing more events, and this is looking very, very nice. Now, this is the next one that's coming up, but there are a bunch which are going to be held. In November, there is a Fukuoka tournament. In March, there is an Aichi tournament. In May, there is a Yokohama tournament. And then in June, you've got the PGCS, which I believe is national, so I could be wrong about that. No, I think that is nationals, because that does give you the potential Day 2 Worlds invite, whereas the others are just giving you a potential Day 1 Worlds invite. My point is that the big tournaments in Japan seem to be coming back as long as everything goes well. And these big tournaments in Japan are big tournaments. We're talking about roughly 1,500 people as a general rule actually turn up and play in these. These aren't little things, ladies and gentlemen. These are big, important, good tournaments from which we will learn an awful lot. Now, as tends to be the case, there is a lottery system to enter. I told you there generally tend to be about 1,500 people that are competing. Well, if the number of applicants continues to be large, there will be a lottery, and they will set a high probability of winning for the player who has lost the most times. The lottery chance system will not be applied to the Kyoto tournament, which will be the first tournament in the 2022 series, because of course they had their nationals a little while ago. I told you about it. And priority for Japan Nationals will be given to the top players in the rankings. Essentially, if you are a top player, you are more likely to make sure you win the lottery to go to Nationals, because obviously they are the players who are most likely to qualify and go to Worlds. So if you're doing well at the littler tournaments and building up those championship points, you are then going to have more chance of actually competing at Nationals, which I think is entirely fair. Now, there are all kinds of rules which are being put into action. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail on all of them, but there are all kinds of measures which are being put in, including do not touch your opponent's deck, and sterilize the table after every game, etc., etc. There's going to be alcohol disinfectants throughout the venue, regular disinfection performed. Essentially, they are going to try and do everything that they can to make sure that these are safe with the whole damn panic thing. And like I've said, these are still subject to cancellation if the worst happens and we end up in a situation where these can't be held. But the fact that this is happening is good news, because if big tournaments are coming back to Japan for next season, there is a decent chance that other countries will start seeing this tournament as well. We've already talked about them coming back to Australia and Oceania, so there is every possibility that this is essentially going to keep happening as long as we're all sensible and do what we can and all of that good stuff. And the good news is that leads to some lovely prizes. Now, there is a top 64 promo card, which is a skate rope. I know, right? Top 64 gets a skate rope. It's not actually, I thought this was being given to everyone. It's not. It is a top 64 prize. And it really is just like a hollow escape rope. Although it is stamped with the Championship Series, and it's very, very cool. And look, Escape Rope is a cool card. It makes both players change their active Pokemon. It was reprinted in Battle Styles, and incidentally, this is very much just the Battle Styles artwork. It's a good card that sees a bunch of play and is going to continue to see a whole bunch of play, but it's just a little bit weird that they're like, hey, make it to top 64, you can have an Escape Rope. It's not what I was expecting, frankly, ladies and gentlemen. It's not what I was expecting. But that doesn't mean that it's not extremely cool. If, however, you want to get a little bit further and you want to get a little bit more exclusive, Top 32 gets you these exclusive sleeves. And they are very much exclusive sleeves, because the only way to get them is Top 32 in one of these Champions League tournaments. And you know what? I'm not a huge fan of them. I don't think they're the prettiest, best sleeves ever. I mean, look, maybe I'm a bit of a sucker, or maybe I'm a little bit of a child at heart. But honestly, if you're giving me Pokemon sleeves, I want to see some Pokemon on them. I want to see some Pokemon chilling out on those sleeves. That's what I want to look at, ladies and gentlemen. That would make me very, very happy indeed. Of course, it's a moot point what I personally think about these sleeves, because the fact of the matter is I'm not able to participate in the Champions League, and if I were, I think it would be rather presumptuous of me to assume I was going to go ahead and make top 32 and win the sleeves. But regardless, that is still very, very cool. But what, I hear you shout, is available for the winners? Well, the good news is the lovely Antoine Boulet has been talking about this morning over on Twitter, and it's actually important to note that these are going to end up being amongst the rarest promo cards we ever see. Now, the tweet that Antoine put out was this: with 4 new regional events planned this season, assuming none are cancelled and they don't change the trophy card's design partway through, 26 new copies of the Victory Proof Pikachu trophy should be distributed, finally making it slightly less rare than Illustrator Pikachu. Now, Illustrator Pikachu, for those of you that are unaware, is, well, it's probably the rarest real Pokemon card that's actually been released. It was a prize given out to children for an art competition in Japan many years ago. You can tell by the design it was in the Wizards of the Coast era. And obviously, when you give cards to children as art prizes, it's not a given that they're all going to remain in tip-top condition, I think would be a polite and euphemistic way to phrase it. So that means that a bunch of them did end up getting, for want of a better phrase, mullered, and so it's ended up being very, very rare. And bearing in mind, there were really not many of them given out to begin with. And to be fair, I don't actually know that many of them were mullered. That's an assumption on my part. I could be wrong. They could be, better at looking after things than I was as a child. But my point is that it's an extremely rare card. And yes, we do have things like, for instance, pre-release Raichu, which is rarer, but also pre-release Raichu is not like a real card that was properly given out, and nobody knows exactly how many there are, and it's all a little bit weird, frankly. So I don't like to count cards like pre-release Raichu when I'm talking about stuff like this. So essentially, it's a hyper rare card. Now, Antoine does then go on to say, due to half of the Champions League events since this trophy's card introduction having been cancelled because of the pandemic, only 22 copies have been distributed so far, and only 11 copies of the second place and first place trophies, but these don't feature Pikachu, because you get different trophies cards depending on whether you're first, second, or third. And, well, I've chatted with Antoine about this in the past. Antoine did get third place at a tournament, losing in top 4, and I said, that must be really sad. And they were like, well, no, because the Pikachu trophy card is by far the best and most valuable trophy card. You want to come third place here. So yeah, this is an extremely rare and valuable trophy card. And as Antoine says, more of these might end up being cancelled, the events, I say. And the design may well change, because designs change over time. They change the trophy card designs here and there. And there is every possibility that this card actually ends up getting rarer over time. So if you're looking for super high-end, crazy rare collectible Pokemon cards, the likes of which the vast majority, by which I basically mean everyone, doesn't have, this might be it, ladies and gentlemen. This might be it. But now it's over to you guys. I want to know what you think about tournaments coming back in Japan. I want to know what you think about, I don't know, the sleeves, the escape rope, that amazing Pikachu card. Basically anything you want to tell me. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.